Before we get to the movie, we should probably talk about the Oscars.
You want to hear my prediction for Best Picture?
I do.
It seems as though it's going to come down between Tar and Everything Everywhere, blah, blah, blah. It's because Tar is the most critically acclaimed movie of the year, but it leaves you emotionally cold. That or Everything Everywhere All at Once, which is so bonkers weird, that will turn off a lot of people. So it'll be Banshees. Banshees will have won.
Good. I hated Tar. My main problem with it is I got an hour into it and I asked myself, what's the story here? What am I watching?
It's the unraveling story.
It wasn't good enough, though.
I liked it, but I didn't love it. And I can't imagine anyone loving the movie.
It's not a lovable movie in any way.
I think the problem is that the best scene in the movie happens about 20 minutes in, and that is the scene at Juilliard.
That is where I thought, okay, now the movie's going to get me.
Yeah.
Now the movie's going to pull me in. And then it gives me that one scene, and then the rest of it is just spinning off into space. Mm-hmm. These scenes that go nowhere. Scenes that have no beginning or end. Characters who don't seem to figure into the story because there's no story.
I love a movie or a TV show or a book that assumes that we, the audience, are geniuses. But Tar seems to be a movie that assumes we are not just geniuses, but that we're psychics. It's a connect-the-dot puzzle with half of the dots removed and no numbers.
I've got a bunch of movies that I've never seen before. You don't know what they are. Every episode, I'm going to spring one on you. It might be good. It might be bad. We'll watch it and talk about it. Welcome to the basement. We all know that David Lynch is one of the greatest living directors. But did you know that he has a daughter who also makes movies? Her name is Jennifer Lynch. Now, she made her feature film debut in 1993 with Boxing Helena. But the movie we're going to watch tonight is her next movie, which came 15 years later, with a title that easily could have been ripped from today's headlines. Don't you try anything sneaky, because tonight you are under surveillance.
Oh, this movie.
I just noticed from looking at this DVD that this is a really violent, gory movie. I didn't know that when I picked it. I know you'll be fine, but I hope for my sake that I'll be okay. Released in 2008, Surveillance stars Julia Ormond, French Stewart, Basement alum Bill Pullman, and Basement Hall of Famer Michael Ironside.
French Stewart?
French Stewart. Jennifer Lynch has only directed a handful of films, but she has quite an impressive television resume, having directed episodes of American Horror Story, The Watcher, Dahmer, Ratched, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Jessica Jones, and The Walking Dead.
I have seen at least one of those.
Tonight's gift may give you an opportunity for a bit of low-tech surveillance.
Squeeze plane.
Just strap a GoPro to one of those, toss it over your neighbor's fence, and see what you can see.
I do have neighbors on the block that I'm very curious about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They never seem to have lights. And in this winter, they put up this metallic insulation over the windows. What's going on in there? What's he doing in there?
Yeah, right.
And they only have electric cars. Sherry O'Terry? Oh, Lord!
So, surveillance starts with murder.
Murder!
Pretty violent, bloody murder.
Murder!
The movie's not wasting no time. A little bit of vehicular homicide. It's the Karma Police! Run!
Murder!
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say all the good feelings I've had the last couple weeks from Strictly Ballroom. They're gone, Matt!
What?
They're gone! Meanwhile, on the sun.
Suddenly, we're at the police station.
Easy now, huh?
Or I'll make your heads explode. I can do that, you know. Two federal agents have come in to investigate this murder.
Agent Holloway and Agent Anderson.
They are met by the captain.
The young woman, she seems to be intoxicated or in shock. The child.
The young woman is high as a fucking kite.
Or a squeeze plane.
There are two witnesses to the whole fracajacka.
Bobby and little Stephanie.
So what you got there, Stephanie? A video game?
Stephanie doesn't say. Stephanie doesn't say.
Do you have some crayons in your bag?
No, my mom snorted them all.
She's got an $8.99 a day Crayola habit.
Crayons? Whew. Well, those FBI agents think of things no beat cop ever would.
What is the matter? Are you 2 years old?
No, I'm a big boy. I'm a very big boy. That's what my mommy told me just this morning.
There's only one way to unfold a note, so to speak, without tearing the paper.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
So let's look and see what... That's not what I...
Jim Conrad, a good cop, is dead.
Officer Bennett
He was Jim's partner, and he's very torn up about this.
The hand. How you doing?
Like I said, we're all just fucking swell.
I'm swelling.
That's why I've got this bandage on my
Yeah.
hand.
Well, these were just slapdash put up. No strings.
This is totally that guy I killed last night. Well, I hope they don't find me out.
Remember why we're here.
I remember why we're here.
Something about asses and bubble gum. I think that's what it was. So they set up all these cameras, they set up all of these monitors, and they want to separate all the witnesses. Agent Anderson is going to interview little Stephanie. The captain is going to interview Officer Bennett. And then these two other guys are going to interview Bobby. As the interviews start, we start to see flashbacks.
Jim and I were having coffee.
But they weren't getting coffee. They were doing target practice.
They shoot the tires off of random cars that drive by, and then they go harass the people in weird ways.
He swears that you were pulling too much speed.
Oh, geez, it was just a normal speed.
Yeah, I
was
know,
going down
I
the road.
know.
The
I
tire
told
tire
him,
blower. I'm
and
not...
he didn't like it when I did.
Oh.
Here it comes.
That Kathy clown.
Get down on the fucking ground, now!
They're two weird cops. They're two bad cops.
Please don't shoot me, officer!
Let him go with a warning.
Meanwhile, in the past,
Johnny and I drove all this way to see this guy about a job.
Looking for a job with Johnny.
we're going to see a friend about drugs, presumably, because Bobby and Johnny are dope fiends.
Yo, you want a drink?
You want some Hep C? You know, you cough all the time. Is it because you're a junkie? Is there something you're not telling me?
He ODs right in front of her and her boyfriend. Let's steal all the stuff that we want and go.
And Stephanie and her family, mom, dad, and brother, are out on the road enjoying their vacation.
We stopped to stretch.
Stay, golden, pony, boy. Holloway is listening to these stories, directing them as needed.
Let's keep the pace, officers.
No, let's keep the peace.
Bobby?
Evidence. Violence.
Oh.
Yeah. Think about it.
I think making him angry is a really bad idea.
He will turn into a Hulk and he will wreck the place. Don't make him angry.
Is there any more hot chocolate?
Of course there is.
Somewhere in the world.
Here you go.
Thank you.
They were out of hot chocolate. This is a mug full of pennies.
Having fun?
Yeah, driving through Nebraska is a barrel of laughs.
It's like Children of the Corn, but less so.
This is Children of the Nothing. And suddenly on the radio, we hear a little song by the Violent Femmes. Milwaukee natives, just like me.
What can I get?
When I was in the 11th grade, I think I listened to this song every day. Mom and Dad are so into the music that they don't hear Stephanie trying to tell them that she just saw something weird on the side of the road.
What can I get? Just one fun.
They can't play that song on the radio.
In Nebraska they can, because nobody's listening.
The cops shoot the tires of Stephanie's family.
Junkie Mobile pulls up right behind them.
Whoa, we got a bonus car. Now we can do some really weird stuff.
We're awful sorry, officer.
I've got cool spirit. I don't do drugs. So check me out.
We're in a station wagon, we're family, nothing bad's gonna happen to us. But things are gonna go bad, because these are the two worst cops ever devised by any screenwriter.
They harass and psychologically torture these people in very strange ways.
You smell good.
I'm just gonna tell everyone out there, you can always go through South Dakota or Kansas.
Avoid Nebraska.
Avoid Nebraska.
Soon the cops have had their fun and they go back to their cruiser. But Stephanie's not done yet. She gets out of the car and walks over to the police car.
I saw something bad. There was a white car and a blue car, and the blue car had smashed up windows and blood all over it.
And there was a van.
I know what blood looks like.
One time I had to cut a bitch.
Your daughter's a brave little girl.
And she told me she doesn't love any of you.
And they go to investigate what the girl saw.
Off to our next crime against humanity.
Stephen, we're lucky to be alive.
Stephen, this is the third time this has happened on this trip. And we're from Omaha. We've only gone 2 hours.
They go back and they see the car that they pulled over before. It's all smashed up and there's blood. And there's no van. The van must be going back to where those other 2 cars are. So they get back in the car and they race back as fast as they can. Do you know the murder van, the murder van, the murder van? Do you know the murder van? That's the murder van. Not fast enough, because this happens. Dad is killed. Johnny is killed.
There's a kind of like a fog of war that goes on.
Hey, get away from the van, crackhead!
Fuck you!
I'm on crack. I can do whatever I want. The killer's in the van.
And Bennett's partner is shot.
Holloway goes in to talk to Anderson. Duck! They seem to be sweet on each other.
Are they Greco-Roman wrestling? We used to do that when we were kids.
Like this?
Yeah.
That's how you
You do that and you like that.
Meanwhile, at the local motel, more murder.
Anderson takes 2 of the cops and they go to the hotel.
Just let me tell you something first.
Holloway gets everyone together in a room.
Oh.
Duck! It is a good one.
Yeah. Who wants a cigarette? We're smoking inside now. I'm making the rules. I'm FBI.
You never smoked?
I only smoke the crank meth. And this is where Holloway starts to get weird. And it becomes clear very quickly that he is the killer.
Surprise!
He and his partner Anderson are a couple of natural-born killers, and they're on a spree.
Oh, no.
You know what? I didn't shoot your partner. You did.
You fired into your partner and you opened him up like a can of soda.
That's what a soda can does. Normally a soda can, it just goes pfft. But when you shake it and do that, then... Maybe you should see that one more time. Check out the flashback.
Hostage is the suspect! I may have orchestrated it, but they were your bullets.
The captain is made short work of.
Fuck!
Ah, joke's on you! Iron sides! Ho ho! Oh, but not the head, sorry.
How is this level of crazy sustainable, though? That's really my question.
Incidentally, at 37 minutes I wrote down Pullman equals killer. That's not when I realized it. It's just when I wrote it down.
He has a quick call with Anderson on the phone.
Bring the butter. We're having toast. Just the way you like it.
She kills the 2 cops.
That buttered my toast.
Whoa, I know what you're looking at. We're gonna deal with the gun later, right?
Okay, Officer Chekhov.
First of all,
Anderson comes back to the precinct. They're in love. They're kissing.
They get all psychosexual with Bobby.
That ends in her death. Bennett wakes up from his stupor. He's killed. These 2 are going to get off scot-free. Someone calls into the station. Hey, I'm investigating that hotel room thing. There's some FBI credentials here. Were there other FBI agents in town? Holloway and Anderson got to him first. They're driving off, and they see the little girl in the field. The little girl, earlier, whispered into Holloway's ear and says,
I know who you are.
She figured it out, so I let her live. She deserved to live because she's smart. That was surveillance. And what more can I say but... Surveillance, Craig. I get the feeling you have opinions about this movie.
I didn't like it.
I thought it was a very fascinating mystery. I enjoyed it.
I figured out about 15 minutes into the movie that the FBI agents weren't FBI agents and they were actually the killers. It was all very well projected.
I thought the 2 cops were fascinating villains.
I liked certain aspects of French Stewart's and other guys' performance, but it was just so far beyond any realism. They're so gleefully going out there for very little personal profit.
I suppose that's the real scary part of it, because you don't know where they're going to go or how far they're going to go, because you don't know why they're doing what they're doing. I did not like that this movie was a 10 of 10 on the nihilism scale. I just thought that was really... It got to the point where it was just tiring.
It's all of these nightmare situations. Brutal murders, survivors' trauma, and cops abusing power. These are all things that can be terrifying. But they were just so far past realistic that I could not be scared by anything in this movie. And I'm not going to think of this movie the next time I'm pulled over, or what have you. I'm not going to think of this movie if any of the things in this movie happened to me. I wouldn't be like, Surveillance totally called it. You look at other movies, and I don't want to compare it to her dad, but in Blue Velvet, there is a central, rather lengthy, brutal rape scene. But that's there for a really solid reason. It fills you in on who Jeffrey is. There's a weird psychosexual dynamic. The entire murder mystery and kidnapping mystery goes along with it. While this is just kind of like, how far can humanity sink?
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying about the nihilism. It's like it's bathing in it too much. Mm-hmm. And when you need to temper that with something, the little girl wasn't enough. You need to have other characters who maybe are counterpoints to that.
Yeah. And the little girl, she's nihilistic too. I figured out your secret. Do I get a pass? Yeah, go ahead, little girl. Just don't tell on us.
Okay, I didn't think of that. Even the captain, he seems to be a good cop, but he's also a dimwit. I think this movie belongs to a particular type of genre that is also occupied by movies like Natural Born Killers, California with a K, The Devil's Rejects. Killers killing and they can't be stopped.
My big question is, why?
Yeah,
why?
You're not pointing to the why.
Why? Why?
Nihilism doesn't ask that question. There is no why. Things happen because the world is a terrible place. And bad things happen to good people because that happens. I'm not justifying a nihilistic worldview or this movie, but I think that's somewhat an answer to that question. Did you think it was Pullman right away because he was being so weird in the beginning?
He was being weird pretty early on.
Still, I thought his portrayal of a can of soda was particularly sublime.
What's that movie? Nocturnal Animals.
Oh, with Gyllenhaal?
That's a nihilistic movie.
But that movie has a sense of morals to it. Jake Gyllenhaal does the bad things that he does because he wants to get ahead in this job. Scoop the other guys who are going out and filming these news stories, guerrilla style.
No. You're thinking of a different movie. You're thinking of Nightcrawler.
What's Nocturnal Animals?
Nocturnal Animals is the one where Amy Adams is like an art dealer and her ex-husband sends her a novel that he wrote. There is a man and his wife and his daughter, and they're traveling across Texas, and they get pushed off to the side of the road by these...
I've seen them both.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking of Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. I was going somewhere good there, too.
Yeah,
anyway, I'll just keep going. Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler, he's doing his bad things because he wants to get all the stuff I just said.
Yes.
In Surveillance, the killers are doing their bad things. There is no reason. They're just killing. You know, that's as good of a reason as because the sky is blue today. Mm-hmm. The cameras are switched off. The bugs have gone silent. Surveillance is over. And now it is time for us to go check out what's happening over at Seen It.
Seen It!
Gaidim, have you all seen the menu yet? I felt like the movie began spinning all these plates on sticks as the plot unravels, but dropped a couple during the end climax. Seen It.
Seen It. Plates. Took me a little while, but I found it to be very funny. I didn't know it was going to be a dark comedy.
You know, you get about 30 minutes in and you say, okay, I know where this is going. This chef is going to use this meal as a means of psychological torture of these people, most of whom probably deserve it. And I like that. I didn't like it so much when he basically became the Joker. Look out the window. Look what I have on this crane. Look what I'm going to do now. Okay, yeah, this is going a little too far over the top.
I took the too far over the top.
So the lack of realism in the menu is fine, but the lack of realism in Surveillance isn't.
Yeah. It's not perfect, but I found it to be a very pleasant social satire.
You know what's interesting? She's sent away to get the barrel, and she goes to the guy's house, and she looks at all the pictures. Now, while she was gone, There was a course we didn't get to see. We missed one of the courses.
Really?
Yeah, because she left after course 5. She comes back for the final course, course 7. I want to know what happened in that course. Because up to that point, everyone's like, what's going on? We don't want to be here. By course 7, suddenly they're seeing the face of God. So I want to know what happened in course 6. The old adage, if it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not funny. I think that also works with twists. If it twists, it's intriguing. But if you twist it too far, it breaks. And then suddenly you're seeing the artifice of everything. And suddenly you're saying like, well, wait a second now. What about this and this and this? That's a flaw that a lot of movies have. They will just build shock upon shock upon shock and throw plausibility out the window.
Ben the Barbarian. Please tell me y'all seen Nope. Seen it.
Yep. I thought the design of the creature was really cool.
Yeah, the ship looks like a cowboy hat from the bottom.
Oh, I didn't think I caught that. No.
Yeah.
Keith David is in this briefly. I always like to see him. Keith David is the Black Sam Elliott.
Oh.
Your thoughts?
Possibly as far as the ruggedness of him goes, Daniel Kaluuya. I have never seen a performance like his before. He's playing a white cowboy. That's what his body and his voice is doing. Except for everything that he does, and of course his appearance, is black.
You get the feeling he studied like Gary Cooper and John Wayne and people like that.
Or just going out to farms and just watching people. My wife comes from a farming family and it's like, oh yeah, this is her Uncle Pat.
Ocean Sage. The Day of the Jackal, 1973, is my favorite Fred Zinnemann film. It is a stylish and grounded assassin thriller. Seen it. At first when I was watching it, yes, I thought it was very dry, bone dry. And then I realized what they're doing. That Day of the Jackal is the anti-James Bond movie. This is the movie about people who are not sexy, they're not cool, but they go out and get the job done.
Yes.
The guy in here who's the main detective, who's on the trail of the Jackal, he looks like a high school gym teacher.
Kind of like what Jean Le Carré did with George Smiley, except that this story is a lot easier to follow because you're literally just following 2 lines, just waiting for the lines to cross.
People look down on voiceovers in movies, but the voiceover at the beginning of this movie is perfect. It says, this is this point in history, Charles de Gaulle did this thing, he pissed off this group of people, and he's getting lots of death threats. Okay, movie begin. I know exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Eric Billy writes, have you seen Police Story starring Jackie Chan? Seen it.
Seen it.
Nothing but action, top to bottom, and all of the action is so astounding.
It came out in 85. And when you look at the music and the writing and the sense of humor of it, it feels like it's from 1965. And then when you look at the action scenes, it feels like it's from 2005. Or beyond.
And all real, all in camera.
And it should also be mentioned that Jackie Chan's character is a reprehensible human being. He's horrible. He treats his girlfriend like dirt. He puts her in danger. There's a woman calling the police station who says she's just been raped.
Oh, I
and
don't
he puts her on hold so he can finish his noodles. There's a place you can go where nobody's going to be spying on you except maybe that sneaky Mark Zuckerberg, and that's our website, welcome to thebasementshow.com. All of our episodes are there, the whole catalog, and there are PayPal donation buttons that you can click on to make a one-time or rolling monthly donation to support this show. Your support is greatly appreciated.
People have done this, like the person Matt is about to talk about now.
Amy. Thank you, Amy. And Marie from Denmark. If I knew how to say thank you in Danish, I would do that right now. So instead, I will just do this. If you want more Craig and Matt chat and you want to see us open boxes and do things like that, you can watch Unboxing, which comes out this coming Friday.
Yep.
And now you can watch this.
I think Squeeze Plane was the original title of that Jay Giles band song. They changed it to Freeze Frame because it made more sense.
I think it was the original title of Soul Plane, and it just featured the music of Squeeze. Oh, you're going to put one together? See how they fly?
I'm going to. This is one small step for man,